He's wacky, he's zany, wacky and zany. It's another wacky and zany show.
Good morning, Armstrong County. I'm David Croyle. Welcome to David and Friends. Glad to have you with us today, whether you're watching us on cable or the internet, or whether you're listening to us at 1380 AM, FM 103.7, WTYM. Glad to have you with us along for the ride. It's 6 minutes past the hour, 41 degrees on the outside. And before the end of the show, of course, we'll talk to the National Weather Service, find out a little bit more about our weather. But let's just call it, let's do a professional word. We'll call it yuck, because that's about what it is out there. But it'll get better as we go along, I promise. Today I have someone in studio that I want to introduce you to. I just met him just literally probably 10 minutes ago. We've kind of corresponded a little bit by text and by email, but I wanted to get him here so that you can meet him for the very first time and know who he is. His name is Jaceley Frezin, and he has written a book, and he's kind of local. We'll talk about that. So, Jaceley, glad to have you with me this morning.
Thank you, David. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about you in specific, because first of all, where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from Haiti, and I married my wife in college. So she's from West Leechburg. That's why I'm here.
So you ended up in West Leechburg. It was a woman now, wasn't it?
Yes, because of my wife. Now I'm here. I'm local.
How long ago has that been?
How long I've been in America?
Yes.
Oh, about over 10 years, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been around enough. You know the roads now and the area and that type of thing.
Yes, I do. I've been around West Leechburg, around this area, Pennsylvania, for about 4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. So what appeals? Let's talk a little bit about the area first, because Haiti, you don't have weather like this really. That goes down, dips down to zero temperatures and that type of thing. So was that big culture shock for you?
Oh yes, it's a big difference. I'm from Haiti, where I sweat all the time. That's the only thing I do. And then moving from Haiti to here, it's I love the cold, actually. Surprisingly, that's one of the things I enjoy around here. I don't have to sweat as much as I do if I was in Florida or in Haiti. So, yeah.
Now you said you met where again?
I met my wife in USF, University of South Florida.
Okay.
That's where I went to school in Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
So that's where we met.
And what did you take?
I was a graphic artist. So,
really?
Yeah. Studio art was my major, and she's a teacher.
Okay. So is she teaching in Leechburg?
No, she's a director of a school that's called Children's Learning Ladder, which is in near Monroeville, Murraysville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, not very. So she gets to be home and you get to be here.
Something like that. Yeah. She's actually driving around listening. So.
Well, she could have come in today. We could have had a 3-person show here today. That would be fine too.
Okay.
I want to find out a little bit more about this. You wrote a book called SPARO, The Unlikely One.
Unlucky One.
The Unlucky. I put
yes.
Unlikely. Huh.
Okay.
Well, see, we were unlucky because I didn't get it right. It always helps if I get the right name of the book, right? But anyway, this is his book, and he brought it in with me this morning, so you can kind of see it. Some of you that are watching on the internet and Family Life TV, you can see it. But the Unlucky Ones, okay. Yes. So did I pronounce SPARO right?
Yes, you usually pronounce it SPARO, but SPARO is fine.
Okay, I'll get it right before the end of the show, I promise. So, Jaceley, tell me a little bit about this book. This is a fiction book.
Yes,
okay.
It is a fiction book. It's about a young man named Noel who, after dying, he realizes that he didn't live a life good enough to get into SPARO. That's what we call the city. It's our hell. It's our heaven. So he realized he didn't live good enough to get into heaven. So now he's been given a second chance to serve as a modern day knight, so he can basically help people and also fight in the name of the Almighty, so he can get that second chance to get into the city.
Now, you didn't use the word heaven. I guess coming back. So why? Why did you pair off of the Christian aspect into another vocabulary?
Yeah, that's actually that's a conscious effort. The whole idea of SPARO started from my Christianity background. since I was in Haiti, I was raised in, Baptist. And so the question I always ask...
Was that the real vocal Baptists, or was that the ones that are very quiet?
Vocal.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Checking, because there are several varieties of Baptists. It's like like ice cream. There's a lot of different varieties.
You're right. Yeah, they're very loud. So I've always known that heaven exists, at least in my heart. And but I've always had the question: am I living good enough to get into heaven? And that's where the book comes from, and it starts with the heaven idea. So it's based on Christianity, but that's loosely of Christianity. I don't want readers to get the sense that they're reading a Christianity book. It's about adventure. It's about fantasy. Right.
So this is it's fiction. It's sort of like The Witch in the Wardrobe. All those they have principles that are basically built around it. Narnia, the whole thing. But
yes.
it really isn't. Taken from scripture, so to speak. It's a whole different aspect of it.
Yes, definitely. It's based off of it, inspired by it, but not Christianity.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, so I got to ask. I mean, this person that wasn't good enough. Is there a part of you in there that's just that maybe comes out in?
Yes, that's a question I always have. When I live my life on a daily basis, I'm thinking, am I doing, the right things? Am I living my life to the full potential? Am I helping others? And that's a question I've always had, and that's where the book comes from. It's a question I believe most Christians will have, especially if you believe in God, and you'll be thinking, all right, how can I get into heaven? Am I living the right way?
Well, yeah, there's a whole lot of theology. I won't get into the theology aspect of it. There's a lot of theology there. But the truth is, we, living out your life in such a way that you're also leaving a legacy. You're also, there are millions of people that go through the earth. And I always say 100 years from the time they were here, you don't remember them because they just go through and they're important, not that they're not important, because they're important for that time period. But then a few of them, you have the Benjamin Franklins and the various other people we can talk about that left something that went on because they did something past themselves.
Yeah.
And I think about that too. Am I going to, is there going to be anything important that I leave behind? And so this is kind of where that book sort of came from in your heart.
Yes, it is. It's what kind of impact am I making in the world to make it a better place for someone else, and to, I guess, to get to that afterlife where you have a sense of relief that you did something that's worth something.
Now, were you writing this while you were married?
Yes, I did. Actually, my wife helped me a lot throughout the book. She helped me edit it, and whenever I had a bad idea, she would throw it out the window.
She literally?
Yeah. I guess.
Wow, if the window came open and it's 20 degrees, it must have been a really bad idea.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's cool. So you were doing this book, and is there anything that basically inside that track, that storyline, that moved you? I know that you're inspired, but every inspiration doesn't necessarily bring us to a passion moment. Is there something in the middle of that book or somewhere there that all of a sudden it basically reaches out to you, to your heart, to your life, and smacks you in the face type thing, because it's so real?
Definitely. Even at the beginning of the book, it's that question of heaven, that question of coming into a new life where you're not even expecting to be there. So that actually moved me from the beginning of the book. So you have moments like that where I don't want to ruin the surprise, but where a reader will be like, that's that could be me. That could be, I could have easily been on that side of things or something similar.
We all, I wrote a song at one point that says, everyone wants to go to heaven, no one wants to leave here tonight. And it's true, because we all talk about heaven and we talk about, the afterlife. But on the other hand, none of us, I should say few of us, are ready today that we were ready to transfer because there's something about there's still part of the unknown. How did you approach this part of the unknown in your book?
Well, the unknown, the story basically came to me. So it wasn't that difficult to figure out the unknown, because it's like it hit me like a truck. It's like I had to sit down and write the story because it just came to me so clearly, and I became so obsessed with it, and that's why I write it. So, so along with what you were saying is the unknown. It didn't seem like unknown to me because I was writing it in the process, so I didn't have time to sit and be like and think about it. But it just came like a rush.
Now, how long did it take you to write this?
About 2.5 to 3 years, give or take a few months, I guess.
Well, yeah, people sometimes, I've known people to write quickly, in a few months, but for the most part, when you're developing things like that, you unless you're on a deadline with a publisher who says it has to be done by next Christmas, you tend to like to play with it. You tend to revise it. You tend to go through it and say, well, now I have to go back to this chapter because this chapter I want to introduce this and I need to set the stage over here. And, so I know some of the mechanics of how that all gets written. But while you were doing that, were there, how many, I don't want to say quantified how many revisions you made, but were there a lot of times you did go back into the storyline and say, no, this has to be here so the reader knows what I'm talking about over here?
Oh, yes, definitely. There were plenty of situations where we had to go back, me and my wife, of course. My wife, her name is Marissa, by the way, Marissa Tira.
Well, we should mention her name, yes. Sorry, Marissa. We weren't trying to exclude you here.
Yeah. So there were plenty of time where we will get to the next chapter and wondering, would the next chapter benefit from something if we add something, on the last chapter? So we had to go back many times. And the book went through so many revisions, I don't even know the number, how many times we revised it, went through different chapters. It was a long road.
Well, talk about a long road. This book has roughly 225 pages, give or take a little, and it has small print. So I mean, this is a big book. If this were written in what I call the elders font, I'm going to have to see. This is I've got the elder's eyes these days, so it takes me a little bit longer to adjust. But this book is packed, and I mean, there's not illustrations here. I mean, this is content to content, front to back. Wow.
Yeah, that's a good point you made about the font. The one you hold in is actually a smaller version of the one that's published out right now. The one on Amazon has about 271 pages.
Oh, okay, because they increased the font a tad.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. I looked at this, I went, wow.
Yes, we had to. This was one of the early versions where we were deciding which would be more cost effective to give people more value. So we try to keep the text as little as possible. And this one didn't quite work out. So we definitely increased the text to the recommended font size is 12. So we increased it to 11. Hopefully people will still get great value of it and they won't strain to read it.
Wow. Okay, SPARO, the unlucky ones. Wow, this is something you need to know.
Good morning.
Whoa, sorry about that. I had the wrong thing queued up. But that's something you definitely will want to be a part of and want to know something about. It's almost 20 past the hour of 9 o'clock, and Mr. Jaceley Frezin is with me this morning. We're going to talk a little bit more about his book, and we're also going to check in with the National Weather Service when we get back. Don't go away. More to come today. David and Friends on the air with you. Somebody else I'm talking to today, my brand new friend that is just written a book, and it's just out on Amazon, and it's available. Mr. Jaceley Frezin is in the studio today. And so as we get ready to kind of conclude today, Jaceley, let's talk about this a little bit. What else do you want people to know about the new book, SPARO, The Unlucky Ones?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on the show today. And I think anyone who enjoy, magic, like in Harry Potter, and also anyone who enjoys adventure, like in Lord of the Rings, they would definitely enjoy SPARO, The Unlucky Ones. It's a modern take on many of the issues that, we think about, especially for Christians. So, yeah, if you have a chance, pick it up and then let us know what you think.
And you only live in West Leechburg, so I'm sure a lot of people are going to let you know what they think as well right here in Armstrong County.
Yes, and I also have a studio in Vinegriff. It's in the corner of Wallace and Emerson, where if you do like the book or you hate it so much you want to come by, just stop by. Yeah.
Well, that's great. And so what do you do there?
I draw. I draw and paint. I also paint portraits. So right now I'm working on a series of drawings and paintings that goes along with the book.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you in all your drawings and paintings, if you really want a challenge, try painting my portrait and make me look better than what I am, and that'd be worth a lot of money to me. Let me tell you.
All right.
Jaceley Frezin, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here today.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
so
you
much,
for stopping by. All right, folks, coming to the end of the show. Glad to have you with us, as we always are. I like to tell you how important you are to me. Thank you so much for being my friend. I appreciate it.
Shutdown sequence initiated. Shutting down.
So don't forget 44 degrees today. That's about our high. It's going to be kind of like it is right now. And I'm back here again tomorrow, 9:05. I hope you'll join me as we take another trip down the road. David and Friends. I'm the David. You're the friend. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
WTYM, Katanning Ford City, on the radio at AM 1380 and FM 103.7, and online at WTYMradio.com. Radio, computer, or smartphone. Stay connected to radio for your neighborhood.